How's it going, everybody? Hope you're well and welcome back to Music with Michelle. Now, it's been 1 week since Travis Scott released his album Utopia, and I realized during my reaction video that my review of the album was actually quite long. It was at the end of the video, so I thought I'd put it into its own video talking about my thoughts on the album, how I felt about it, and considering the album came out a week ago today, I thought it'd be interesting to see if my opinion still held up 1 week later. If you do want to watch my full reaction to the album, I will leave a link to it in the description. The first part of the video will be my tier list. You can see how I felt about each individual song, and then I'll move into the actual review of the album. But yeah, let me know what you think about the album now that it's been out for 7 days, and I hope you enjoy the video. So as you can see there, before we get into the final review of the album, this is the final standings for the tier list. You can see we've got one song in the Not For Me tier, which was the Bad Bunny and Weekend song, which yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of, to be honest. It wasn't really for me. I understand why it exists, but it's just not for me. Got a few songs in the re-listen. Now these ones I will listen to again and just get another viewpoint from how I feel about it, but initial impressions is that the songs there are good. They're not bad songs. I just need to give them a few more listens, which I will do quite soon. And then you can see the large majority of the songs on here straight into my playlist. It's quite a big album, 19 songs, and yeah, majority of them have gone straight to my playlist, which basically means that from first impressions I really like them, and I'm gonna be listening to them over and over again. And then you can see at the top we have two songs, My Eyes and Till Further Notice. So yeah, these two I think are two of the best songs on the album, and in my opinion I think they are some of Travis's best work. Really did like My Eyes. I don't know if other people are going to like that one. I feel like I like that more because it was a bit more dream poppy, bit alluding more to like the indie folky sort of sound. I really liked the Bon Iver influence on this song. So yeah, whether people like it as much as I do, I don't know, but for me that's one of my favorites. And then Till Further Notice, yeah, we just spoke about that one. Yeah, incredible song. So that was Travis Scott's Utopia, an album that feels like it's taken forever to come out, and there's been so many leaks and rumors of the album coming out over the years, but it's finally been dropped nearly 5 years after Astroworld came out. So a long wait for people for new Travis Scott music. He's had a very topsy-turvy few years in his own personal life and as a musician, and we haven't seen too much of him in terms of features until recently because of all the stuff that happened. So it's really good to see him back and see him back in his prime. And yeah, I feel like a lot of these songs have been written for a long time. I feel like the influence from people like Kanye West and Yeezus, Drake, Andre 3000, Kid Cudi, I feel like all of these songs, a lot of these probably were written quite a long time ago, especially the one with Metro Boomin. I imagine that one was probably written a little while ago. So yeah, I feel like these have had a lot of time to be worked on, to marinate with him, and it does feel like 19 songs that were carefully selected for a particular reason. Whether that reason was for like commercial success, like songs of K-pop, or to songs like Till Further Notice, which gave us an introspective look at different artists in a fantastically produced song. And yeah, I feel like all these songs had a purpose. They had a reason to be on the album. There was nothing on here which I felt out of place, and I think everything flowed really well. The production was amazing. I think the biggest takeaway from this, I think the biggest talking point, will be the Kanye West influence. It had so many elements of not just Yeezus, but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You could even say there's a few from Life of Pablo, like Love, which really reminded me of Fade, but also reminded me of Kid Cudi stuff like Indie Kid and Passion, Pain and Demon Slaying. But I think Kanye's influence is really apparent on this album. There has been a lot of conversations in the past about Travis Scott's influence. Of course, he worked on Yeezus. That was one of his first projects he was ever involved in, and it's been clear since that day that Kanye had such a big impact on his career that this one feels almost like an homage to that era and that album, which, let's be honest, came out way too early. Wrong time, I think it came out, because when Yeezus dropped, people didn't like it, they didn't understand it. But now you can see the influence it has had in hip-hop, trap music since then. It has had such a wide influence and such an impact on the music we listen to now. Even people like Playboi Carti, you know, take so much from Yeezus that it was really cool to see an album which took the ideas of Yeezus and the influence and almost brought it into a different light. It had its own spin on it, its own personality. It felt like a Travis Scott album. It did not feel like a Kanye West album, despite a lot of these songs being produced by Kanye West. Maybe that was one of the reasons why Kanye didn't feature on the album, literally didn't feature, because he didn't want to take away from Travis Scott. It didn't want to feel like a Kanye West album. If you don't look at the credits from who produced it, you wouldn't know it's a Kanye West song. Yeah, it might have elements of it where you can go, oh, it sounds like it's been produced by Kanye, but there's no branding anywhere. There's there's no signage anywhere which relates to Kanye West. So this is very much a Travis Scott album. It pertains to him as an artist more. It doesn't feel like it's a Kanye West ripoff. It just feels like it's a adaptation of an already existing idea, which I think takes a lot to do. It's very hard to do. Helps if you have someone like Kanye West producing your music, because obviously he was there during the year of Jesus and he was the inventor of stuff like this. But yeah, it definitely felt like a Travis Scott project. It felt like something that took 5 years to make. It felt like this has been in the work for a long time. It didn't feel like something that was rushed. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing when you have to wait that long for an album, but when it does arrive and it is to the quality of this, I think you'd much rather have quality over quantity. You know, Travis Scott could easily drop an album every year, 2 albums a year. And, you know, that's what we've been saying to people like Drake. We know people like Drake can make music of this quality. And again, his influence was very apparent on here as well. Even the last song with SZA, where she had the Marvin's Room melody. And, you know, it is so apparent that these two figureheads in Kanye West and Drake have had such a impact. But I feel like where Drake, you know, not to make this video about Drake, but where Drake could take something from Travis is, you know, don't release 2 albums a year. Work on albums. Make it a 3-year wait between albums like it used to be, because that's when they have their best qualities. And although Travis Scott's album, this Utopia, may have been a symptom of, you know, all the allegations that happened and all the fallout from Astro World, maybe that was the reason why we had to wait 5 years. But I still think 3 to 4 years is more than enough to work on an album and produce something of this quality. And, you know, that's just so obvious in the things like the production. You know, all these songs felt quality. I'd say the only song which I didn't feel like had that great of a production style was actually K-pop, which is probably going to be the most popular song on here, which is funny because that felt like the most rushed. Would not surprise me if this one was written after the album and just sort of squeezed in to suit that commercial side of things, which again is completely understandable. I don't begrudge him. It doesn't change my opinion on Travis or anyone who worked on the album or the album itself, because I understand why something like that needs to exist. But yeah, that one definitely felt a bit shoehorned in. It didn't feel like it was part of the original project. Features, you know, we had the whole Avengers cast on here. We had 21, we had Drake, we had Beyonce, we had Bad Bunny, we had The Weeknd, we had Sway Lee, we had Kid Cudi, Future, Young Thug, Young Lean, just off the top of my head, Playboy Carti, Sheck West. You know, we had so many people in this album, and but it didn't feel like they took too much away from Travis Scott. I always felt like Travis Scott was the forefront of every song. He dominated every song, and it didn't feel like a collaboration between people. You know, even when you had 3 features on a song, Travis still had the majority of the airtime, which I think is very important, because you don't want it to feel like a collaboration album with other people. It didn't feel like that. It felt like a Travis Scott album, which is refreshing, and very glad it went this way. And this album definitely could have gone very sideways, you know, because there was such a high expectation. It's been built up for so long, and that's not even really due to Travis Scott's fault. It's more like us as fans who've had this expectation, because Astro World was so good and it was such a success. You wanted him to go one step further, and to do that is very hard. I think you have to say it did survive the hype. I think it exceeded expectations, at least for me. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, because I was just presuming that there was too much riding on it. There was too much sort of pressure on all the stuff that he's been through over the last few years, and the added expectation of the fans, I feel like might have harmed it in some sort of way. But just in my opinion, I think this album's incredible. I think it's one of the best albums of the year. I of course haven't heard every album, but definitely one of my albums of the year. And yeah, I went into it quite low expectations, I'd say, because again, like what I just said, you know, I feel like there was a lot riding on this album, but I feel like he smashed it out of the park. I think everyone involved has done very well. Too many producers to list and count, but all the features, all the producers, everyone behind the scenes created a fantastic album. And I think this will go down as one of Travis Scott's better albums, although I don't think he has a bad album per se. But yeah, he's one of the rare, I suppose he's one of the rare examples of artists that don't really have a bad album. You can like some more than others, but I don't think he has had a catastrophic album where a lot of artists have. You know, even Kanye West, you know, Jesus is King, Donda 2 did not perform very well. He hasn't had that sort of album, and I can't imagine he will if he keeps going at this pace, going at this trajectory. If he makes us wait another 3 years for an album, cool. I don't think he will have that massive come down as long as he keeps keeping up this quality, because it's apparent that he's unbelievably talented. A lot of these songs were produced by him as well, so yeah, he definitely feels like one of the best artists in the game at the moment. It's just really refreshing to see him come back. It's good to see him back in his game, and yeah, let's hope it doesn't take that long for a new album. But if it does take another 3 years, I don't think any of us can moan, because he's proved that no matter how long he makes us wait, he still delivers. Yeah, I probably spoke way too much there, but yeah, you can gauge my opinion that I do really like this album. But I'm very interested in hearing what you think of the album, what your favorite songs are. Do you think it matched the hype? Do you think it exceeded expectations? Let me know in the comments below. Very interested in hearing what you thought of the album. And yeah, this video's come out a bit later than other reaction channels, so it's had a bit more time to marinate now. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Just want to say a big thank you if you've made it this far for watching the video. I'll have a lot more content like this coming up in the future. A lot of album reactions, a lot of tier lists, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be expanding my content going forward. And yeah, I hope to post more regularly on this channel as well. So if you are interested in watching more from me, seeing more reactions, then please feel free to subscribe. Like I said, thank you very much for watching the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a nice day.